Welcome to Loco, Gringo, Mexico, the place where we transform a tourist into a traveler, because you deserve to see more of the world than just what's in a guidebook. Each week, we talk with amazing locals who know the Riviera Maya and Yucatan like only a local can, and get them to share their tips and insights on the local scene, culture, and cuisine from a local's perspective. So, pour yourself a margarita, grab a comfy chair, and let's get the show going.
Hola everybody, this is Kay Walton with Loco Gringo here in the Riviera Maya, and I'm really excited to introduce you to my friend Sherwood Anders. Now Sherwood has been coming down to the Riviera Maya for a long time. She's going to share a story with us, but Sherwood also now is retired here, which it took her a long time to get here. She's got a great story to tell, so let's get to it. Hey everybody, this is Kay at Loco Gringo, and I'm going to introduce you to a great girlfriend of mine, Sherwood Anders. Now Sherwood I met virtually, actually. I met her virtually on our Loco Gringo forums many moons ago. She's known as Beachmutts there, but Sherwood has recently relocated, and I'm really glad to introduce you all to her, because she's got a great vision for the area and a great passion and love for the area. So Sherwood, hey, great to have you with me today.
Hola.
How's everything in your world today?
Everything is great in my world. I'm looking out at Half Moon Bay. It's a beautiful sunny day. The palm tree is blowing perfectly. The waves are rolling in. It's paradise.
Well, a rainy day in paradise is better than any day in an office, right?
Yep. There's no rain here today.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a perfect day for snorkeling. Not that I snorkel, but it's about perfect.
Well, we love a perfect day. So Sherwood, I mean, it's a perfect day now. Let me back up a little bit. It's a perfect day compared to Pittsburg, Pennsylvania. No offense to the people in Pittsburgh. I went to school up in Pennsylvania, but you're originally from Pittsburgh, right?
I grew up in Pittsburgh and lived there until I was 32.
Well, I know better than to ask about the Steelers. I know how you feel about the Steelers now.
I'm being a Steeler fan because they got the nasty player off their team.
Oh, they did. So, okay. So I'll see you rooting with the terrible towel again soon. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes. I'm breaking out my terrible towels and my Steeler t-shirts again. And but, I have my collection of Baltimore Ravens, San Francisco 49ers, St. Louis or New Orleans Saints, San Diego Chargers. So at this point, I root for like everybody in the NFL except the Cowboys.
Okay. Well, I won't go there. I love my Texas teams. But anyway, Sherwood, so tell me, Sherwood, and I don't even know if I've even asked you this, how the hell did you end up in Akumal and the Riviera Maya?
When we got married in 1996, we went to Cancun for our honeymoon in June, so it would rhyme later when I told the story. And we went to Chichen Itza on a day trip. We stayed at a timeshare that my mom had gotten for us for a honeymoon present. And so we went to Chichen Itza for a day trip. And while we were there, the tour guide told us about the snake appearing on the side of the temple at the vernal equinox. And my birthday is March 22nd, which is around the vernal equinox, a day or two after it. And so I said to Bob, we're coming back here for my 40th birthday. And Bob said, okay. So 5 years later, we came back for my 40th birthday, and we brought my mom and dad with us so that they could see this just mind-blowing phenomena. And if anybody has never seen it, put it on your bucket list. It's amazing. It's chilling. Anyway, my mom's uncle, my great uncle, had worked at Chichen Itza in 1927 as part of a group from Carnegie Institute, which is now Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. And he was out there with Sylvanus Morley working on ruins and digging up old rocks. And so when my mom was cleaning out my aunt and grandmother's house, she found this box of photos and sent them to me. And they're all from Chichen Itza, Uxmal, Sayil, Kaba, Labna from 1927. So they're kind of amazing, before all the restoration and everything was done. So we went to Chichen Itza, saw the vernal equinox, got a private tour guide who took us around the entire site, like to the old part of Chichen Itza, that most people don't see, that they probably don't even know that it exists or see pictures of it. And that's really pretty amazing. But the the regular area is pretty cool in itself. Anyway, so we stayed at the Maya Land Hotel, which is beautiful. If I could live there, I would. And we stayed there for 4 days and did our Chichen Itza vacation. And then Bob and I had sponsored the first half of the trip. So my mom and dad were sponsoring the second half of the trip. And my mom booked us into the Moon Palace because she has timeshares and can trade. And she thought that would be a really great place to stay, especially for my dad, who was kind of not so open to trying new cultures and foods. We'll just leave it at that. So anyway, we went to the Moon Palace and stayed. And so part of staying at the all-inclusive was you got a day trip to either Chichen Itza or Tulum. And we already been at Chichen Itza, so we took the day trip to Tulum. So we got on the bus in the morning and we went down to Tulum and toured the ruins. And then they said, okay, tour's over, get back on the bus. We're going to stop at this little place called Akumal and snorkel and have lunch. And so the bus, I'm the original tourist, you know, to come to Akumal. I came from an all-inclusive on a bus to snorkel. So we came in, parked in the big parking lot on the right, and Bob and I got off the bus, and my parents said, go on ahead, we'll catch up. And we had brought our own snorkel gear with us, and we walked through the arch and just stopped right in our tracks. And Bob said, this is the place I've been looking for my whole life. And I said, I'll take it. Some beach somewhere, sold. So we spent a lovely afternoon at Loja at the snack bar, had a great lunch, had ceviche for the first time, snorkeled. I still have yet to see a turtle down here, but you have to get in the water to do that.
No, you are, oh, wait, so you haven't seen a turtle, because I know it's lousy with turtles. You have never seen a turtle, but it's because you haven't gotten in the water?
Well, yeah, I don't snorkel.
Okay.
So,
all right. I mean, I'm not a big snorkeler either, but I have seen turtles, so that, you know, I'm a little surprised. Sherwood.
I've seen turtles in Hawaii, but not here. Okay, one time I saw a turtle pop its head up in front of Playa Caribe.
Okay, well, all right, great. But have you seen the baby turtles hatch?
I've seen a lot of baby turtle hatchings. I volunteered with the Saya Center for many years and would do the turtle walks at night. And when we knew that a nest was boiling, and Cheryl and Donnie Hall would call me at 2 a.m. and be like, nest is going. And I'd run up the beach and we'd sit there with our red flashlights and made sure that little turtles got a safe passage. And I've been lucky enough to see a couple daytime hatchings, which are, they're exciting because you're not out there in the dark and you can better photo ops and everything. You don't have to worry about a flash, but it's almost like a race against time to get them into the water before the birds figure out that the turtles are out, or you stand out there flapping your arms around a lot looking like a lunatic to keep the birds away. But you know what? It's not the first time I've done that. It won't be the last. So at least I have an excuse.
No, true. No, true enough. Okay, so wait, sorry, I didn't mean to sidetrack on the turtle thing, but you caught me a little off guard when you said you hadn't seen a turtle. So, when in fact you've seen many, they just happen to not be in the water. So you came in, you snorkeled and everything, so pick up from there. So then what happened?
So then we got back on the bus and went back to Moon Palace, and then we spent a couple more days, and then we went back to San Francisco, and we were like, wow, that was one of the best trips we've ever had in our life. And so fast forward 2 years, we had done a couple years of family vacations and we're kind of over that. And so we were trying to decide, where do we want to go on vacation this year? And we were thinking about going back to Hawaii, and my neighbors across the street, when talking to them one day while walking dogs, mentioned that they were going to Cancun for their vacation that year. And I went home and said to Bob, you know what, we should go back to Cancun. And Bob said, we should go to Akumal. And so that was it. When we had been in Akumal, we met a really nice family. The guy's name was Steve. I can't remember her name. And they were from Minneapolis, and they had 3 little boys. They stayed at Villa's Flamingo on Half Moon Bay, which I had no idea where that was. The only Half Moon Bay I knew was the one south of San Francisco. And anyway, they had given us a card that had their grocery list written on the back of it. And they said, if you're ever coming here, this is true story. This is not just for UK. True story. If you're ever going to come back here and stay, here's how you find a place to stay. And it was a Loco Gringo card. So when we were talking about Akumal, I got online on Loco Gringo. This is way before I knew about the forums, before I'd ever heard of you or Loco Gringo, or I barely even knew Akumal. So we got on Loco Gringo and started looking, and one of the very first places that I looked at to stay was Casa Corazon in Soliman Bay. And I fell in love with it because it was yellow and it was right on the ocean and it was just beautiful. And but it was a little bit bigger than what we were looking for. And I really wanted to stay in Akumal where we could walk to the restaurants and where there was preferably a restaurant on site, because we all know my cooking ability leaves a lot to be desired. So anyway.
You make a mean macaroni and cheese, though.
Thank you. But if you don't use spoiled milk, it turns out better. So anyway, I just kept looking, and it was, to be honest, this is 2003. So Loco Gringo was up and running, established by then. But there were just so many places listed on there, that like so many properties available. To me, honestly, it was a little overwhelming because I didn't know anything about the area. I didn't know anybody here. I didn't even know anybody to ask for a referral. So I just kind of went through the site and looked at different places. And of course, pricing was a part of the consideration. And finally, I just said to Bob, you know what, let's just stay at Hotel Akumal Caribe. It's right there. There's a beach, there's a restaurant, there's a bar. We're close to everything. We can go to other restaurants. And so we stayed there. We ended up, we came down at the end of May. So we were here for Memorial Day. And we stayed 10 days. We celebrated our wedding anniversary. And while we were sitting at the snack bar one day, we saw a wedding taking place out at the point, at Cannon Point, where all the cannons are. And the bride was walking back, beautiful bride, beautiful dress, white dress, long blonde hair, flowers everywhere, and this small wedding party walking back. And this dog that had run in front of our car and that I had fallen in love with was leading the bride back with her wrist in his mouth. And I looked at Bob and I said, we're going to come back here and renew our vows for our 10th anniversary. And Bob said, okay. So anyway, just had a wonderful time. The first trip we were here, we had already been to Tulum. So we went out to Coba and climbed the temple there. We went snorkeling a couple times. We went down to Yaku Lagoon. We walked down the road and got as far, I remember going to Luna Azul because I can remember singing Blue Moon on the way back up the road. But for the most part, we kind of just hung out at the hotel. We didn't go into Playa del Carmen. We didn't really go to Tulum or any of the beach clubs. We just kind of stayed at the hotel and had a great time. Akumal Beach is beautiful, and there was a bar, there was food, there was a dog, there was my husband. What more did I need? So anyway, about 2 days before we were leaving, I walked past the real estate office and just started looking at the listings, which at that time was one piece of paper copied front and back and it had rows of properties available and then columns for the amenities and check marks like pool, garden, ocean, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, whatever, and the prices. And so I picked up one of the listing sheets and I took it back to the hotel and I said, Bob, we need to go look at this one condo. And Bob said, no, we're not buying a condo here. I want to retire with less debt, not more. No. So no just means not now to me. So we went back to the States, never looked at any property or anything. And I got online and started looking at the Akumal real estate site. And so the two most affordable listings were casitas, and I kind of wanted a condo, not kind of basically a oversized hotel room. So our condo was the least expensive condo listed. And so I kept saying to Bob, we need to consider this. We need to look at it. Nope. We're never doing that. Okay. So I start doing magical math and I'm like, we could get a mortgage, pull a second and take out a loan. And it would only be, a couple $100 a month. And I'll keep working if we can buy this condo. Because the plan was always that when Bob retired, I'd either work part-time or do temporary work or something. But I wasn't going to work full-time so we could enjoy spending time together. And so then I approached my mother. Bob said, no, I'm not getting a loan. And in California, you can't get a loan without your spouse signing off on it or acknowledging that they know you're getting it. And anyway, so I approached my mother about it, and my mother said, I have no desire to own a condo in Mexico. I have no desire to take up your mortgage payments when you miss one. So no, I'm not going to get a loan with you, but you have some money that your grandparents left you from a house that was on Sanibel Island that they sold when I was in my 20s. So if you wanted to use some of that to buy the condo, you could do that. So that's what we did. And we bought a condo sight unseen. We had never been down this far at the end of the road. We transferred all the money. We went to the real estate office. We signed all the books, went up to Cancun, signed a notario book, stayed at the hotel. And I was crying because I'm like, this is the last time I'll ever stay at the hotel, which I could go stay at the hotel tonight if that's what I really wanted to do, if I could get a room. But anyway, so anyway, the real estate agent brought us down to show us the condo that we had never seen. And we walked in and my jaw just dropped. And he said, is it okay? You're okay with this, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's okay. So that's how we ended up in Akumal.
Well, no, you have a beautiful view.
We do have, I think we have the best view, but I think everybody thinks they have the best view. So
no, but I used to live in that building.
I know.
That was the first place first condo building that Gary and I lived in. I think we moved there in 2005 is when we moved into your building. So I know you have an awesome view there.
I love our view.
So you got to answer me this, Sherwood. Okay, so what everybody has to understand is that Sherwood worked, and Bob was what? He was brewmaster. Was it Sam Adams? What beer was it? Wasn't or Amstel?
No, bite your tongue. No, he was a brewer at Anchorstein.
Anchorstein, sorry.
First microbrewery in the United States.
You guys were gainfully employed. You buy a condo unseen. Kudos to you. So now, why retire? I mean, you guys are both young. And so you just decide to retire, and you packed up. I think what you did miss in the story, and I know a little bit that we've talked about over happy hours and beers and time at the beach, is that you used to come down before you retired and lived here full time. Is that you used to drive down with how many dogs? 4, 5, 4 dogs from San Francisco to Akumal. Long drive. How long is that drive?
8 days total.
8 days, 4 dogs,
Yeah.
1 husband. And you, that's a long trip.
I can't even tell you how many beers that drive to. A lot.
So how has it, I mean, what motivated you to say, okay, you know what? We're going to leave San Francisco. You have a great place in San Francisco. I've been there. You were a very gracious host when I was there. What prompted you guys to say, okay, great. We're leaving San Francisco. We're moving to the Riviera Maya for good. What prompted all that, and how's it going?
It was actually a gradual process. So Bob retired from Anchor Brewing in 2007, and he'd been there almost 25 years, and he was 60 when he retired, so he was pretty young. I mean, it was kind of an early retirement. And so I quit working, and we decided we were going to drive down here with the dogs, the 4 dogs, 3 of whom were rescued from Akumal. And we were just going to spend 3 months and see how we liked it. Because there is a big difference between living somewhere and vacationing somewhere, or living in your vacation spot. And
how so?
So when you're on vacation, I mean, when I go on vacation, I tend to kind of plan, well, one day let's do this, or let's see this attraction, or let's try and fit this into our schedule. Or, if you wake up and it's a beautiful day, because next week you're not going to be able to come down and sit on the beach, you run out there with your beach towel and claim your palapa and your lounger, and you just, spend a beach day. When you're not vacationing, like today's I told you it's a perfect day, but I'm not down on the beach, which I could be with my laptop talking to you anyway, but because I'm like, well, you know what, we have a lot of guests staying here from Easter and spring break and everything. I'm like, well, you know what, there's people on the beach and I can't have it all to myself, so I can go next week when nobody's here. So that's kind of Yeah, I mean, we have certainly gotten into the mañana mode of thinking, being in Mexico. So anyway, ours was a gradual process. We drove down the first time in 2007, and then I ended up going back to work on a temporary basis for a year, to my old job. So in 2008, we just flew down for a week or a couple times. And then we drove back down again in 2009, and we stayed, I think, 3 months. And then 2010, we drove down and stayed 4 months. And then the next year, it was 5 months. And it just kept getting longer and longer. And then at one point, it's a beautiful drive. It's an interesting drive, but it's a long drive, and it's a lot to do, especially with 4 dogs and finding places to stay. And, everything has to go exactly right because, if a road closes and you don't know where to go and you don't know where to stay with the dogs. And anyway, so we kind of got tired of the drive. So we decided, let's just pick a place and stay there. And we both love San Francisco, but we love it here more. So we decided, you know what, let's try Akumal for a year and just see how it goes. So we packed up a bunch of personal stuff at our house, put it in our lovely garage, which you've been lucky enough to be tortured with. And we drove down with the dogs, and one of our dogs had passed away or 2 of our dogs had passed away in the meantime. So we had the 2 dogs. And so we drove down and just decided we were going to stay a year. And about 9 months into our year here, we got a message from our neighbor across the street that they had friends that were interested in buying our house because they really wanted to be in that neighborhood and they wanted to be near our mutual friends. And I'm like, well, that's nice, but there's a small problem. Our house isn't for sale. And so my friend started telling me, well, you don't know what you're missing. This market's crazy. You're never here anywhere. You want to be in Mexico. This is just dumb. You need to sell that house. So I said to Bob, well, Linda keeps telling me we need to sell the house. And Bob's like, I think she's right. So that was almost kind of how it happened, that we ended up not being able to sell to the friends of theirs because they wanted in 30 days and there was no way we could get out of here and get everything packed up. So anyway, we kind of discussed it and we made the decision to go back and pack up the house and sell it and just move down here and make this home base. And so we did that in 2014. We packed everything up. We sold the house last January 2015. And so we've been here pretty much full time ever since. And it's going well. It took a while to sink in, like, this is it, this is home. Because when we would come in, we'd come in on the 180-day tourist visa and have the car sticker that would expire. So we were either on a deadline to get back to the States, before the car sticker expired, or go down to Belize and renew the sticker there. Which we only did once, and it worked well. It went fine. But in the meantime, we were also spending summers in Oceanside, California, with my brother and his family in kid sitting for his 3 daughters. And when we started that, they were 7 and 9 and 1 year old. And then, obviously they're almost 16, 14 and 8 now. So the 2 older ones are at the point they really don't need kid sitting anymore. So that kind of opened up to us, okay, we don't have to get back to California for the summer to do our kid sitting stint. And so it's just, it's been a gradual adjustment, and I think one morning I woke up and I went like, wow, this is it. I don't have to worry about packing everything up in 6 months. I don't have to worry about hightailing it, or that, we went to the consulate in San Diego in last August, and we have our temporary residency now, so we can stay, I think, up to 4 years, and then after that we, I guess, go to permanent or go back to being temporary, or the tourist visas. So.
Wow. So let me ask you, Sherwood, for me, I've worked ever since I came to Mexico. I've been working here now since 1992. So being retired, and we're close to the same age. What do you do? Do you get bored? I know you've got a passion for dogs and everything. So do you do charity work? Do you sit on the beach? You don't sit on the beach, I guess, if there's other people, like you've mentioned that you're not necessarily keen on sharing it. But what does being retired and here in the Riviera Maya mean to you on a like a day-to-day basis? You just go, oh my God, what am I going to do today?
No, some days that I say to Bob, what do you want to do today? And some days you know what, let's go down to Zebra and Tulum, just kind of spur of the moment things. So that's, for me, I don't get bored. I somehow manage to find something to occupy my time or get myself in trouble one way or another. So we have a really, really good social network down here, a lot of friends, a lot of really good friends. So we spend a lot of time with them. I'm really involved in animal welfare down here, not so much rescue because I physically can't do the hands-on rescue. I don't have the space. I don't have, I have the time, but I mean, we have 2 dogs of our own. We had 4, we have 2 cats. We're in a condo. I can't be filling the place up with dogs and cats and having, guests who are staying here getting annoyed that they're living in a kennel or something. So I direct all of my efforts into doing volunteer work, and a lot of it is just done kind of behind the scenes, like social networking and fundraising and just promotion. I do a lot with Coco's animal welfare, and I'm probably up there about once a month just to check in, help out, get in their way, whatever. Whenever there's a spay neuter clinic going on, I like to try and volunteer at those whenever I'm able. We just did one in Tulum over 2 days in November, and I think we did close to 300 dogs and cats in 2 days. So that's a lot of animals in 2 days. So I spend a lot of time doing that. I spend a lot of time reading. I spend a lot of time with my own dogs and cats. And I'm slowly, because I'm not as much of a workaholic as you are, but Natalie told me one time I don't know how to relax. So I'm slowly learning how to relax and just kind of be and do nothing. But I mean, there's a lot of times, we'll go grocery shopping up in Playa. We'll go to Sam's. We make a run up to Sam's about once a week. So it'll be, let's go to Sam's. Let's go do whatever errands we have to do up in Playa. Let's go have lunch somewhere up in Playa. Maybe try something new. So I can't give you a schedule of what I do every day. I sleep in. I love to sleep in. So I sleep in, have coffee, check Facebook, email, answer questions, do whatever I need to do on there, walk dogs, then we'll have lunch, and then maybe read, spend some time listening to music, maybe go sit on the beach, maybe take a walk, and then by that time it's happy hour, and then the rest from there. So
yeah, I do know the rest from there actually, and I'm glad to say I like to. You and I have shared a frosty beverage from time to time. I think that one of the beautiful things that you bring to the area is your love for animal welfare. I'm a big supporter of Coco's animal welfare. We've got a cat, Monchi, from Coco's. Now, it's a great organization, and just for, I think a lot of people, they come down to the area, and I don't think they realize is that they can make an impact, and they can help out in animal welfare, or they can actually adopt. Right? I mean, it's pretty easy. If I'm on vacation or holiday down there, if I find a little kitten or dog or something like that, I can bring it home, right?
Yeah, it's super easy, super easy. So Coco's works with every animal rescue group in the area, and there's quite a few. And they're all good. I can't say that one animal rescue group is better than another. Coco's doesn't do rescue. They provide free or low cost spay neuter for rescued animals for the local residents. A lot of the local residents are living hand to mouth. So for them to take in a dog, that's an expense that they just don't have the money for. And to get a dog sterilized, that's just, it's prohibitive for them. So Coco's does a great job of free spay neuter, low cost spay neuter for people who kind of have more of the means to participate in the costs of their animal care. And so all you have to do is get the animal spayed or neutered. You get its rabies shots and all of its the distemper, parvo, all of those shots, and then you get a health certificate from the vet, and you get an airline approved carrier, and make sure you're on an airline that allows pets. So into Canada, WestJet and Air Canada are the two best there, or and Transat, and into the U.S. it's Delta and American, and United. You can work with them if it's in cabin. If it has to go in cargo, I don't think United takes in cargo.
No, I don't think they do. I know Chili Dog wants to fly in first class.
Well, Chili Dog fits in your lap in first class, so.
True.
But yeah, but I mean, if anybody is ever interested, if they find an animal and they want to know how to help it, or if they find an animal and fall in love with it and want to take it back with them, have them contact me, and I am more than happy to help them. I will hold their hand through the whole process and, take them to the airport, give them a kiss goodbye, and wish the dog a buena vida, or the cat. So
and you'll probably shed a tear. I know how you are about your animals.
Yes. Yeah. So I kind of got involved in this because Sejas ran in front of our car when we turned into the hotel all those years ago. And I just fell in love with him at first sight. And then after we bought the condo, we'd come down and he'd still be here. And I thought, this is great. I'll have my own Mexican dog. And we didn't really have any plans to spend time here or retire. I mean, this was a vacation second home for us. And anyway, so finally Rocio emailed me one day and she said, you have to come get Sejas. And Susan, that used to have the bakery, you have to come get Sejas. He's getting picked up by the dog catcher. He's starting to roam across the highway, and just things aren't going too well for him here. So a friend of mine and I flew down, brought the biggest crate known to mankind with us for this dog. And it took me 16 hours to get him, which is another story for another time. But anyway, so I took him back, and everyone was so helpful. Everyone was just, this is how you do it. This is what you need to know. I was on American Airlines. They were absolutely wonderful. Gave me a free Bloody Mary because they could sense I was a little stressed out. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it's super easy. And I think I've taken back 11 or 12 dogs total on my own. I've helped other people take dogs back. And then any of the rescue groups too, they will set everything up. There's a couple women, Lisa Edwards and Rochelle Morgan and Kathy Corella run Help to Loom Dogs. And they do an amazing job. They send a lot of dogs up to rescue partners in Toronto and Vancouver. Mostly, they do mostly puppies. They seem to find every litter of puppies that's born and abandoned in the jungle, and they take them all in and nurse them back to health and get them on their way. Ricardo up at Tierra de Animales does an incredible job. Coco's helps with other groups. Playa Animal Welfare also does a great job, and they partner with some rescue groups, Pet Project Rescue in Minneapolis. So, I mean, there's so many ways and so many avenues and people who are willing to help. So, yeah, find that dog or cat, take it home with you. Living souvenir.
No, that's great. And yeah, you can help a furry life. And I'll put a little plug in for all the animal welfare people, because we've got cats and Chili Dog. But if you don't want to take an animal home with you, which is a big responsibility, is that any of these groups, of course, welcome cash donations, and you help with the spay and neuter and the health and welfare of any of the animals in the area. So if you can't take a pet home with you, feel free to drop off a donation. Sherwood, myself, and we can also put you in other groups too. You can flip us 100 pesos, 20 pesos. If you see us on the street, we'll make sure it gets to the right people.
So I just wanted to take a minute to thank you and Loco Gringo for your so generous donation to Coco's for their new clinic. We're really excited. There's going to be the Loco Gringo Love and Lounge at the new clinic. And it'll be a room where people can go in and they can meet adoptable cats, kittens, and puppies, and get to know them and take one home with them, or they can always sponsor. If they can't take one home, they can sponsor a pet. So thank you so much for that. That is so wonderful that you guys are continuously giving back to the community. You do it in so many ways, and you do it stealth a lot of the time too, which I think a lot of people aren't aware of. Coco's still needs about $30,000 to finish the new clinic, to get all of the operating tables, the equipment, everything in there. So if anybody wants to make a donation, please visit cocosanimalwelfare.org, and there's a link there to even $10 will help. So
yeah, no, it will. And I got to say this is that, and I appreciate the thanks, Sherwood, for sure. But you know, it wasn't just Loco Gringo. It was a lot of people on our forums. The Loco Gringos on our forums did great. We raised money on Facebook and everything. So it wasn't just us, but it really was all the people who are part of the LG Nation and really step up to good causes, whether it's animal welfare, hurricane relief, and everything like that. We've got a really great community.
They do. They're amazing. They blow me away. And they always step in to help out. And they do so much work for the library here, for the kids in Akumal, the Hakabe. So that's, which is another one of my, I'm not as passionate about that as I am with the animals, but I've been involved with Hekabe for probably the last 10 years, and volunteered there for a while. But there's just something about reading to kids and drinking beer at the same time that maybe isn't such a good idea. So
yeah, I know it happens. But yeah, there's a lot of great libraries that people can donate to, and really lots of great charity causes. So if people want to reach out or they want to do something on their vacation to help out in the local community, you'll be able to contact Sherwood, or you can contact myself, and we can certainly hook you up with some great people who are doing some amazing things in the area. So Sherwood, I'm gonna kind of come at you at a different angle here. You've driven from San Francisco to the Riviera Maya numerous times. You got a favorite spot in Mexico?
Besides here?
Besides here.
So our travels are, we haven't really traveled throughout Mexico because of the dogs and the challenges with staying with them. And we basically stick to the same route every time. The first couple of years we drove in, we came down through Tampico, around Veracruz, and across to Villahermosa, and then to Escarcega, and over to Chetumal and up north. So that Tamaulipas, I think that's how you say it, Tamaulipas State, which is kind of Matamoros, the border between Tampico and Texas, has gotten, unfortunately, really dangerous. And even the Mexican government tells you not to travel through there. So the last 4 or 5 years, we've been coming in the central route down 57, which leads to Mexico City. And that area is just really beautiful. You see almost a little bit of everything. You don't see ocean, but there's the Sierra Occidental Mountains, which are just majestic. They're magnificent. You see Joshua trees. You see just fields and fields and fields of flowers. As you come around through Puebla, you can see Popocatépetl, which has been erupting for the past couple years. So when that's having a good day going off, you just want to stop your car and stare at it, but that's not a really good idea. So the one place I really, really like, and this might sound just so corny and glitzy, what that word is this place called Matehuala, and it's in San Luis Potosi State. And it's this little 50s throwback motel, drive-in motel, and they have little rooms and a carport next to it. And the rooms are simple. It's 2 double beds, a dresser, a TV, an old TV, not a flat screen TV. The Mexican TV channels, so it's all Spanish language TV. There's a restaurant on site, and all of the waiters wear these royal blue or red short waist tuxedo jackets and cummerbunds and bow ties and white linen tablecloths. And I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's like this 5-star service. The food is delicious. There's a pool, there's a little miniature golf course. So it's just, I don't know, it's this quirky little place to stay. And so when we drove back at this past time in August, I said to Bob, you know what, we're going to take a mini vacation and stay here for a day. And we did, and we had a great time. It was nice to relax for a day and not have to worry about getting up early and jumping in the car and racing down the road and get to this point. And so one of the places I really want to go visit is San Miguel de Allende. Suzanne and Burl always spend a couple weeks there.
Oh, it's a fabulous place.
The cover story for the Playa Times this latest issue is about San Miguel de Allende, and I'm just like, oh, I have to get over there. So that's definitely on my list of places I'd like to go. I really want to go to Mexico City and see Teotihuacan and the museums there and the cathedral. And I want to go to Monte Alban at some point. I think the favorite place that we've been on our drive down was the very first year that we drove down. We went to Palenque and stayed there for a night.
Love Palenque.
We got to the ruins. We got there about 4:00, and they were closing at 5 or 5:30. And the people were really nice. They were kind of like, well, as long as you're out by the time it gets dark, don't worry about it. But we were only there for maybe 2 hours at the most. But it was just magical and just so beautiful. And we didn't really get a chance to explore the whole site. We were mostly at the main area where the Temple of Pakal is. But it was just beautiful. So I'd like to get back there someday and spend more time there. And yeah, I have a long list of things I want to do.
Well, so you know what question I'm going to come up with next is that I want to know what Sherwood's secret spots are. And I say that because we all have our little places that we like to get away to, where we're not, we know there's not a lot of visitors or tourists in the area, and our little spots are either whether it's shopping or eating or the beach or something. So I want to hear your top 3 places that you're willing to share with us that are like just places that you hold special here in the Riviera Maya.
The first is probably not a secret play at all, but the beach clubs in Tulum, that to me, we go down there and spend an afternoon and I feel like I've been on vacation. I feel like I'm a million miles away from everything or ordinary or whatever the Corona is. And living in paradise can have sometimes its challenges. Being in a condo that's a rental unit, we get a lot of guests in here sometimes. So to just get away from the crowds and go to a beach club, our favorites down there are Mezzanine because the food is just out of this world. Some of the best Thai food I've ever had in my life, and that includes in San Francisco. And then La Zebra. And when I had seen that had burned a couple weeks ago, a month or so ago, I was just heartbroken. I mean, I actually sat here and cried. And I think within 2 weeks, they were back up, open, running, doing business again. So we're looking forward to getting back down there pretty soon. So I think for a perfect day trip, Tulum and the beaches there, you can walk in the water. It's great. It's wonderful. I would have to say Chichen Itza is another of my very, very favorite places. It's just magical.
Really? Wow. I mean, you have, yeah, I'm surprised. A lot of us go, Chichen Itza, yeah, because we've all been there so many times or it's so well known.
No, I've been there. I've probably been there about 10 times now. We were there for my 40th birthday. We were there for my 50th birthday. We were there for my honeymoon. Anytime friends come to visit, that's almost a mandatory, tour guide trip. But to me, it is just still, I get goose flesh just even thinking about it. And so I maybe kind of have a special connection to it because my uncle worked there. And I have these photos from 1927 that
they're pretty amazing photos.
They're different, but they look the same. It's like the trees are bigger, but it's kind of spooky in a weird way. But anyway, it's just such a magical place for me. So what we like to do when we take friends over there is we drive up in the afternoon, stop somewhere and have lunch along the way. And then we stay at a hotel up there. The two that we've stayed at are the Maya Land, which is just magnificent. If it's in your budget, it's a little pricey, but if it's in your budget, do it. And treat yourself. And they have a restaurant and a bar on site. They have 2 pools. It's just, you can walk right to right into the ruins. Or we stayed at the Hotel Dolores Alba, which is down the road from the ruins a little bit. And it's really affordable, nice rooms, cable TV, 2 pools, restaurant, bar on site. They have a Coke machine that dispenses beer. I mean, you can't beat that.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah. And anyway, and they also have a sister hotel in Merida that I've stayed in, which also has a Coke machine with beer, which is a really pretty hotel, not too far from the main square there. But anyway, so the hotel, we go up, we stay at the hotel, and get there in the afternoon, check in, have a light dinner or a snack or a happy hour or something, and then go over and watch the light show at Chichen Itza that night. You buy your admission ticket for that night, and then we go over early in the morning, first people in line, and we get to tour the ruins because the tour buses haven't gotten there yet. So we get there 7 or 8, whatever time it opens, spend 2 or 3 hours touring around the ruins, and by 10 or 11, we've seen pretty much all of the main sites that there is to see, and we can just get out of there, and there's a great cenote right down the road that I can't remember the name of, but it's kind of right across the street from Dolores Alba, that go there, spend an afternoon cooling off, and then we drive back over to Akumal, and it's a great little overnight getaway. And I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go and do that right now. So my last very, very secret spot that I really, really kind of hesitate to share, but I
want to know.
Is Pamul. So
yeah.
You had taken us to Palmol the very first time years ago to have lunch there. And we were like, hey, this is kind of a cute spot. We should come back here, but I don't know what our problem is. We find places and then we forget about them. So last year we had just sold our house, and we were back down here, and we're living here now. And some friends of mine from Playa Animal Rescue were having a par day at the beach, and we were all going to get together, about 30 of us. And so I said, Bob, come on, we're going to go hang out with all my crazy animal people. And Bob's like, yay. So we get in the car, and he said, where are we going? I said, it's a par day. It has to be Palmol because they both begin with a P. So we went to Palmol. Well, we get there. There's no one there. There's like maybe 5 other people there, and not this huge group of crazy animal people. And so Bob said, I don't see your friends here, but let's eat lunch because I'm hungry. So we had lunch, and then we just kind of walked around a little bit. And so but maybe others don't. Palmol started as a trailer park. I don't know, what, 30... back when
long time ago
it was invented. So it started as a trailer park, and a lot of people would come down with their trailers and spend the winter. A lot of Canadians, especially, they get a lot of snow. And so then they'd park their trailer, and maybe they'd leave the trailer here, or maybe they'd just, rent the space for the year so they could reserve it. But then they build maybe a little palapa porch next to it, or maybe they put, a little patio or something. So it's evolved from a trailer park into a full-on community. And it's really private, it's really peaceful, it's really secluded. It's everybody who lives there. It's not a transient community with a lot of tourists coming in and out. There's a hotel there. So if you don't want to buy a trailer and live there, there's a hotel there. They have little cabanas that are like stick cabanas with thatched roofs, decks. They're raised up off the sand about maybe 2 or 3 feet that look out right on the south end of the bay. Pristine beach. It's not crowded. It gets a lot of the Mexican families on the weekends, which is great because nothing makes me happier than seeing the people whose country we're in enjoying their own country. And there's a great little restaurant there that has the best Veracruz style fish that I've ever had in my life, with the capers and tomatoes and onions and the sauce. It's just a really little kind of quiet slice of paradise. It's only 15 minutes from Akumal. It's an easy day trip. So that's my biggest hidden secret place.
Well, I have a little bit of a hidden secret place for you that is it's just south of Pamul, actually. And Pamul is about, just anybody who's listening want to know how far it is from Playa del Carmen. It's about, 10, 12 minutes from Playa del Carmen to the south. Okay, so at the highway, there's a little convenience store at the entrance of Pamul. And if you take that little dirt road that runs parallel to the highway, there is another dirt road that turns east to the sea. And many years ago, about 1995, I was driving down that road with a girlfriend of mine after we had finished cave dive, and there is a pyramid there.
Wow!
I have only seen it once. Now, there used to be a dump there, a garbage dump nearby there, and I'm not sure if the road is still open, but I drive by. But it's the only time I saw that road. Her and I both, and we both saw it and said, wow, look at this pyramid. But there is a pyramid. I want to say it's 3 to 4 stories tall, or it was. That's what my memory is telling me. But it was about halfway between the highway and the sea. There's a pyramid there. And I also believe if you take a boat from Pamul and you go along the coastline, about halfway down between Pamul and Puerto Aventuras, I believe there's another small pyramid, very similar to the one that's at Bahia Shock, down by the Grand Serenas Resort. But there should be, I think there's another little pyramid just south, right on the water line south of Pamul.
All right, I'm going to have to go explore and find that.
So there you go. A little tip there. So, all right, Sherwood, listen, hey, I really have loved this time talking with you, and it's a shame I swear I say this when I'm talking to people, it's a shame that we don't get to spend more time together, but we're going to do so. I think so this week. We'll get together and have we'll go to Pamul or hang out by the beach and have a cerveza or some ceviche or something. But I really want to thank you for your time, and I want to remind people is that if you're coming down to the area and you want to help out with volunteer work, nonprofit work, the animals, the library and stuff, you can reach out to Sherwood. You're on Facebook, right, Sherwood?
I'm on Facebook, Sherwood Freeman Anders, or Beachmutt.
Or Beachmutt on the forum.
Or the Loco Gringo forums, Beachmutt. Just look for Beachmutt.
Or you can go for Beachmutt on the Loco Gringo forums, but reach out to Sherwood. I certainly can help you as well. And also if you have questions about life as a retired person, although she's really a lot younger, maybe we all had that life of luxury. But if you have questions about the area, please reach out to Sherwood. She's a great gal. I love her to death. You'll love her too. And if you need any other information or have some other questions about stuff Sherwood and I spoke about today, you can always email me at askkay@locogringo.com. Hey, Sherwood, love you, girlfriend. I hope to see you soon.
Love you too. Beso.
Well, thanks a lot, everyone, for joining Sherwood and I today. Love talking to her. She's got a great tale. And you know what? She's got a huge heart. I can't speak enough about the work she does for animal welfare, the library, and a lot of other local organizations while she's here in the Riviera Maya. If you have any questions, I invite you to email me, askkay@locogringo.com. And you can also find, just a reminder, you can find Sherwood on the Loco Gringo forums as Beachmutt or ping her on Facebook. Until next week, hasta la vista.
Thanks for listening. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe. For links, show notes, and more information, head on over to locogringo.com or give us a call toll-free at 800-478-0081.
Porque se tragó la luna, estaba enferma la rana. Su madre soba que soba, dedos de pluma la panza. Pensó ranita que luna era una toronja blanca y aunque la luna es de leche, la leche estaba cortada. Croa, croa, dedos de pluma, croa, croa, dedos de agua.